Now at 5 a.m. on WKYT this morning, despite reports saying that they had been found, family members of a missing Lexington native and her husband say the couple remains missing this morning.
The Kentucky Senate has approved a state budget, but it doesn't include money for a proposed project here in Lexington.
And a portion of Interstate 75 in Tennessee will reopen today after being closed following a big rock slide.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us on this Thursday. I'm Michelle Chamberlain.
And I'm Bill Bryant, and we are glad you're up and at it and can spend a little time with us. We have a lot of news to get to you this morning, and weather today could get interesting, you know?
Yeah, so far. I mean, I drove here with my window down, my music cranking.
We've had
so
some
far,
nice,
so good,
little spring days.
Right.
Well, let's check in with Mike. Another facet of spring is showers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to have that as we get into your afternoon, off into the evening. That is your best bet to actually see some of these showers and thunderstorms roll on through. Now, it's a very widespread system, but it's not extremely potent. And what I mean by that is it's going to cover a large real estate of the Midwest and the Southeast, but you won't see an outbreak type of situation. It's not like that. You will have an isolated severe cell here or there. Temperatures are already in the 50s and 60s. This is a good feel. Upper 60s to around 70 degrees later on this afternoon. Gusty winds, too. We got a lot to talk about with the wind advisory in effect and also those storms. I'm going to go over the timing. I have a breakdown for you with a graphic that I built to help you plan out your day, and that's coming up in about 10 minutes.
Okay, see you with that in a bit. Thank you.
The heartbreaking wait continues for family and friends of a missing Lexington native and her husband.
No one has heard from Stephanie nor Justin Schultz since the terror attacks at the Brussels airport Tuesday. Hope appeared to be restored after Justin's mother was told that her son had been found. But shortly after that, family members were told that those reports were wrong. WKYT's Mark Barber is joining us live now with more of our continuing coverage. Mark?
Good morning, Bill. Stephanie and Justin Schultz have now been missing for 2 long days. Justin's brother thought that the exhaustive search for the couple had ended yesterday afternoon after his mother was told that the couple had been found alive. However, just a couple hours later, he learned that that information was incorrect. He says someone at the State Department is at fault for that misinformation. As you would expect, it made an already heart-wrenching situation even more frustrating for the family. Justin and Stephanie were waiting in the departure gate in Brussels airport when suicide bombers detonated 2 explosives 2 days ago. The couple has been missing ever since. Yesterday, Stephanie's coworkers started searching hospitals for them. Stephanie's mother was checking in at the airport when those bombs went off. She was thrown by the force of the blasts, but she survived. She has been alone in Belgium, but now her husband and Justin's mother are both preparing to make the trip over to Brussels to join the search.
I've been hoping that my phone would ring and Justin or Stephanie would be on the other end, tell me they were okay, and for me not to worry, you know, they were fine.
You can see just so many difficult emotions to work through for this family. Now, they say that it is so important to have feet on the ground in Brussels because the government is refusing to allow hospitals to release information about whether they are treating patients or not over the phone. Now, they do hope that they are still alive because their names have not appeared on the casualty list. Live in Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
All right, we're all holding out hope. Thank you. A massive manhunt is underway in Europe for a third suspect in the deadly Brussels terror attacks, and now authorities in Belgium say there is a link between Tuesday's assault and the Paris attacks last year. Kenneth Craig has the latest on the investigation from Brussels.
As the hunt for the mystery man in the white jacket continues, Belgian prosecutors are learning more about the suspected ISIS terrorists connected to Tuesday's terror attacks in Brussels. Authorities believe the terror cell's bomb maker, Najim Lashrawi, pictured here on the left, and Ibrahim El-Bakrawi in the middle, both blew themselves up at the airport, while Ibrahim's younger brother Khalid detonated his explosives on the subway train. Officials say they also found DNA belonging to at least one of the suspects in Belgium on a suicide vest used in the Paris attacks last November.
Tuesday's attack here in Brussels and the events in Paris are renewing concerns about fighting ISIS in Europe.
It's much easier to get into Europe than to get into the United States, for example, because of geography. Most European Muslims are not radicalized. The vast majority are not, but they do have a higher radicalization rate.
Speaking from Argentina, President Obama once again urged the international community to come together in the terror fight.
We can and we will defeat those who threaten the safety and security not only of our own people, but of people all around the world.
According to the Associated Press, ISIS has trained at least 400 fighters to carry out waves of attacks in Europe designed to inflict maximum carnage. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, Brussels.
And European Union officials are holding an emergency meeting today to discuss its response to the Brussels attacks.
For the latest on the Brussels attacks, keep checking our website, WKYT.com. You can also find updates on the WKYT News app.
Well, back here in the Commonwealth, the Republican-controlled Kentucky Senate has now approved its version of a state budget.
The budget proposal includes most of the cuts recommended by Governor Matt Bevin, but it drops millions in bonds proposed for renovations at the Lexington Center. WKYT's Caitlin Sintner joins us from the live desk with more details. Good morning, Caitlin.
Good morning, Michelle. Budget cuts that many public institutions have been rallying against in Frankfort may just come to fruition. The Senate-approved budget includes most of Governor Matt Bevin's proposed slashes in state spending. Now, that means public colleges and universities, state constitutional officers, and public preschool programs will be cut by 9% over the next 2 years. Republican Budget Committee Chairman Chris McDaniel said the state can't invest in its future if it doesn't address the problems it faces today. Conversely, House Democrats removed much of Bevin's budget cuts. The two sides hope to come to a compromise by next week. Another Senate budget cut will halt a Lexington project. In a 21-16 vote, the Senate nixed funding for expansion of the Lexington Convention Center. The center CEO said after the vote he'd help answer any questions the Senate had about those renovations. At the live desk, Caitlin Sentner, WKYT.
Caitlin, thank you. 3 people have been arrested following a police chase that crossed 2 central Kentucky counties. Paris police say they got a report from a man in Bourbon County saying that someone had shot at him. The shooter then drove off and the man started chasing him. Paris police and Bourbon County Sheriff's deputies soon spotted the suspect's car and started chasing it as well. That chase continued into Scott County, where Georgetown police also joined in. The chase ended on Main Street in Georgetown near the Scott County Courthouse. Police say 3 people in the car were arrested. Their charges are not known to us at this moment.
Part of Interstate 75 in Tennessee closed after a rock slide nearly a month ago, but it will reopen this morning. The Tennessee Department of Transportation will reopen one northbound lane at 11 o'clock this morning in Campbell County, south of Jellicoe. The second northbound lane will remain closed while crews continue removing debris and stabilizing the hill. Crews hope to the cleanup is complete and finished by April 15th. The southbound lanes in that area reopened a few weeks ago.
Well, it's been quite an inconvenience down there, but people got to take some detours and sightsee a little bit.
Well, it's good timing with spring break right around the corner, too.
You're right, absolutely. All right, 5:08 right now. WKYT This Morning is just getting started on your Thursday, rolling toward the weekend now, and we have a lot more coming up.
Yeah, this girl's size may fool you. Don't let it. But a toddler in Texas is now being credited for saving her mother's life.
And we have showers and thunderstorms back toward the west. They're heading our direction. We are going to see these, but when? I'll have that coming up next.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
We have a wind advisory in effect coming out of the south, 20 to 40 miles per hour, and that goes through 7 p.m. So it really comes into effect at 8 a.m. But let me tell you this, you step outside, you will start to feel those strong winds as they're already blowing on by. And what that's doing is that's pumping in some moisture, that's pumping in some warmer air. We're already at 63 degrees in Richmond. I came in this morning, we're at 61, so it's actually rising already. 59 now in Danville. And that goes for London Corbin area too. It's a good feel outside this morning. It'll be a really nice feel this afternoon if you're not under the rain, if you're not under those thunderstorms that roll on by. So the wind advisory is already there. We're already going to see very gusty winds, but then add in those showers, add in the thunderstorms as the front rolls on by, and you will start to feel winds possibly even stronger than that. We get into the afternoon and the evening. That is your best bet. Anywhere from, I would say, 3 p.m. in the far western zones to about midnight in the far eastern zones. is our severe weather threat. That's the timing on that. Not for just rain, not for any showers or just thunderstorms. That could be before that. But I'm talking about the severe weather threat, if we have any, and that's a big if because this is very low in severe weather risk. But it does look like those thunderstorms will roll through during that time. By midnight, they're long gone. Let me break the timing down for you a little bit better. Easier to see there. Check out where you live. If you live in Frankfort, obviously you're going to be in the yellow zone. If you live over in Moorhead, West Liberty, Salyersville, work your way down the Mountain Parkway off toward Howard Rogers Parkway, obviously you'll be in the green zone. So let me break it down for you hour by hour. 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. 65 corridor and the ending, kind of that interchange of 65 and BG Parkway, that's the area where we could see anywhere from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. for those strong, potentially a few isolated severe cells. Now you go 75 and then work your way through 27, 127, BG Parkway, and then go southbound on 75. That's the area anywhere from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. So that is the Lexington Metro during that time, and that goes for Richmond too. Slide eastbound and you're talking about 8 p.m. to about 11 p.m. So it's not just a rain chance, but the strong to potentially severe chance is during that time. Here's your 7-day forecast and what you can expect. Once that front moves on through, you'll feel the gusty winds switch over, and they'll switch over to a north and northwesterly component. What does that mean? That means some colder air pumping on in. 30s tomorrow morning and 50 degrees and toward tomorrow afternoon. That means some of us will stay in the upper 40s. It's going to be a chilly day on Friday with mostly cloudy skies, but Saturday and Sunday we ramp right back up. Look at those 60s and maybe even a few 70s there on Sunday. Guys, the rain on Sunday that you see there for Easter, that's 40%, that's late in the day. That's evening and night. It's not going to affect us during the daylight hours as of right now. We'll see if that changes, but as of right now, the weekend looks really good.
Hopefully it does
really
not
good.
change,
Yeah,
right?
let's hope. Let's
Yeah,
hope.
hold on to that, and then rain off into Monday.
That's right.
We'll deal with that when we get there. Thank you, Micah. It's coming up on 5:15, and a 5-year-old Texas girl is now being called a hero after saving her mom from drowning in their family's backyard pool.
I love the story. Allison Anderwald was playing near the pool when her mother suffered a seizure while swimming. The little girl quickly realized something was wrong, so without hesitation, Allison dove in and started pulling her mother to the shallow end of the pool. Now, the family's surveillance cameras captured the whole thing. It took Allison several tries, but she never gave up. Wow. Now, once in the shallow end, Allison turned her mom over and pulled her head above water. She then ran inside to get help from her aunt.
She was really heavy, and I could only get the top part of her out, and then her other daughters ran over and helped me get her out, and so Allison was able to do that on her own, and so it's a miracle.
Oh, wow, it gives me chills. So when asked about the heroic act, Allison didn't have much to say about the deed. She says she's just happy her mom is all right.
What a great attitude. But it really is. I mean, she obviously knew, obviously probably had been taught, in a situation, call 911 as you teach your kids. But in that case, she knew she had to act very quickly. So.
And those are moments when you hear about something just takes over.
Yeah.
That's one of those moments,
right.
I think.
And early in her life for that. 5:16 now on WKYT this morning. Hope that inspired you to get your day off and rolling and do some good things today on your Thursday.
When we return, we'll have a look at your money.
Whether you choose to use a credit or a debit card may depend on how old you are, and a sneak peek at what to expect at this year's New York Auto Show. I'm Karina Mitchell with those stories coming up in your Money Watch report.
Hey, good morning. It's 5:19 on WKYT this morning. Glad you're along with us. And Starbucks will soon introduce a prepaid Visa card. Also a look at the generational divide in credit card use.
And a look ahead to a New York Auto Show. Karina Mitchell has the latest on your money.
Investors will watch to see if Wall Street can make up Wednesday's losses. The Dow fell 79 points, while the Nasdaq fell 52. Starbucks says it will introduce a prepaid Visa card this year, allowing users to earn points for its rewards program. The card will be offered through Chase Bank. It's the latest move by the Seattle-based company to attract customers to its loyalty program, which already has more than 12 million members in the U.S. A new survey from creditcards.com finds there is a generational divide when it comes to paying for purchases that cost less than $5. 74% of those aged 50 and up prefer to pay in cash for small transactions, while 64% of millennials are likely to pull out their debit or credit card instead. And an array of concept and high-efficiency vehicles are set to be showcased at this year's New York Auto Show. And SUVs are expected to play a big part as automakers try to drive up sales of more expensive family-sized cars. Maserati will debut its first-ever SUV Levante, priced at about $70 grand at the show. And that's your Money Watch. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. In New York, I'm Karina Mitchell.
All right, and it's good to have you with us at 5:21 on WKYT here on your Thursday morning. We have a lot more to tell you about this morning, staying on top of lots of stories.
Yep, sports is next.
The NBA draft is coming up soon, and John Calipari says every eligible player on his roster will enter the NBA draft and get some feedback. Also, the Morehead State Eagles are in the championship game of the CBI. I'll show you how they got there next in sports.
We're looking back west and seeing that line of showers and thunderstorms rolling our direction. It's falling apart now, but it will kick back up as it gets a little bit closer to us. We still have plenty of time before we actually see the brunt of it. The brunt of it actually comes during the afternoon and evening hours as it passes on by. But most of your day, you're going to feel those gusty winds, and that'll pump our temperatures right around 70 degrees later on this afternoon. I'm going to get into that timing. I'm going to talk all about that coming up in about 10 minutes.
John Calipari says every eligible player on his roster, including the walk-ons, will submit his name for the NBA draft. That's everybody except Isaac Humphries and Ty Winyard. They're too young. Cal had a meeting yesterday and told the players they sacrificed for each other, and now it's about each individual player and what's right for them and their families. Cal said the hope is being invited to the combine in May. Now, Cal said the new rule states they can submit their name a total of 3 times. If they choose to withdraw, they have until 10 days after the combine, so Cal calls it a win-win situation. Calipari could also add one more big-time recruit, and that's Marcus Bolden. Bolden, the '1 rated center and 12th best player of the class of 2017, says he will make his college choice before April 17th. Bolden, a 6'11", 240-pound center, has Kentucky and Duke at the top of his list. Bolden will play in next week's McDonald's All-American game in Chicago. UK junior guard Michaela Epps is an All-Region nominee for All-America honors by the Women's Basketball Coaches Association. Epps is one of 8 players represented in Region 2, which is heavily laden with SEC players. The WBCA All-America team will be announced April the 2nd. The UK women's team in the NCAA round of 16, they will play Friday night at Rupp Arena on ESPN2. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock. Semifinals of the CBI tournament last night. Morehead State playing on the road in Athens, Ohio against the Bobcats. Sean Wood's team in front by 1 at the half. Lionel Gaines slashing into the lane. 17-14 Morehead State. Eagles turn up the defense. Ronnie Beeman with the steal. He will go in for the layup, and the Birds have a 7-point lead. Anthony Alici knocks down the jumper. Eagles by 8. They would lead by 5 at halftime. Into the second half. Down 1 now. Brent Arrington steals the ball, lays it in, and the Birds are back on top. Morehead down a point. 3:34 to go. Who do you turn to? Corbin Collins from way downtown. The Eagles up 2. $1:54 to go. Game tied 65. Collins one more time. Another bomb. Morehead stays on top for good, and they go on for the win. 77-72. The Eagles will now host the CBI championship against either Nevada or Vermont Monday night in Morehead. That is a look at sports. Have a great day.